Hi everyone. Okay, in this video, time to raise awareness of a little seen film. It's only been logged less than 600 times on IMDb and Letterboxd, and it's a B movie from 1942 involving a mad scientist and a lumbering creature and lots of murder. And it is this film. It is Dr. Renault's Secret. Directed by Harry Lachman, the final film that he directed, a director who did loads of B-movies and had a fair amount of success directing the Sidney Toler, Charlie Chan movies. It's a film that's based on a book written by Gaston Leroux called Baloo, and Gaston Leroux is more famous for writing The Phantom of the Opera. The film was actually first adapted in 1927 as The Wizard, starring Edmund Lowe, but unfortunately that film has been lost to time. This is a nifty little B-movie. It's only 58 minutes long, and it involves an American scientist who comes to France, just outside Paris, to meet up with his fiancée, who is the niece of another scientist, Dr. Renault, who lives in a chateau nearby. Now, the American scientist is greeted by Dr. Renault's assistant, a rather peculiar-looking man, very lumbering and muscular and with kind of ape-like features. And things start to become a little bit strange, and some murders happen. And so it is for the American scientists to try and work out what actually Dr. Renault has been doing at his chateau and who is actually committing the murders. Dr. Renault also has an ex-con working with him, so could it possibly be him? Now, the mad scientist in this, Dr. Renault, is played by George Zucco, an actor who portrayed mad scientists a fair few times during his career, and in fact, he was to star in another one with his co-star J. Carrol Naish just a few years later, alongside Lon Chaney Jr. in The House of Frankenstein. But it is the co-star J. Carrol Naish who really is of delight in this movie, playing this rather ape-like looking manservant, Noel. And definitely if this film had been starring Lon Chaney, then I think it would be much better known and much more widely seen. But yeah, J. Carrol Naish is really quite good in this. And in fact, if you don't know who he is, he's an actor who just the very next year in 1943 was to get Oscar nominated for starring alongside Humphrey Bogart in this movie, Sahara. This is a war movie that actually I'm sure a lot of people have recently bought on Blu-ray via Indicator. And then also just 2 years after this, he was then Oscar nominated once again in a film that was starring Dorothy Lamour, and that was A Medal for Benny, not a film that's particularly well known nowadays. But his makeup in this is really quite good, and the way he moves and carries himself and speaks is also really quite engaging. Now, don't get me wrong, the film certainly is quite silly at times, and also it is only a 58-minute movie, so there are a few sort of things that happen rather too quickly and a few loose ends, if you like, in the film as well. But that being said, it is still thoroughly entertaining. There's plenty of murders that happen in this film, but they're quite gruesome ones, to be honest, because not only do people get thrown across rooms and strangled, but more than that, they actually get thrown off buildings and thrown out of windows. So yeah, all of the murders that take place in this film, including one involving a Great Dane, in which you see in silhouette, are really quite effective. Now, there is another character in this, as I mentioned briefly earlier. Dr. Renault has an ex-con working with him. Now, that ex-con is played by none other than Mike Mazurki. He isn't actually credited in the cast at all, but he has a very significant role in the film. Now, Mike Mazurki, he is great. Now, he's a name that's known to me because really when I was young, I absolutely loved this film, which is Farewell My Sweet, perhaps better known as Farewell My Lovely, starring Dick Powell, and Mike Mazurki in this, a former wrestler, was playing the character of Moose Malloy. Absolutely love this movie. Perhaps people who haven't seen this one will be more familiar with Dick Richards' film from 1975, Farewell My Lovely, starring Robert Mitchum. So yes, both of these adaptations of the Raymond Chandler novel. But for me, really great to see Mike Mazurki in this. His performance in this is really quite a significant one, and it is a few years before he was in Farewell My Sweet. So yeah, shame that he's uncredited, but he's terrific in this. Now, it's not really a great plot spoiler to give, and hey, what the hell, no one's seen this movie anyway, but Dr. Renault's work has effectively involved capturing a gorilla in Java and then doing experiments on it to try and give it human features and human behaviour, and henceforth we have this character Noel, played by J. Carrol Naish. So yeah, quite mad stuff, and it takes a while for the American scientists to try and work this all out. Now, there is a fair amount of action when it comes to some of the murders and the fight sequences, and another person who's uncredited in the movie is none other than the legendary stuntman Ray Crash Corrigan. So yeah, he does do some of the ape work in this, and some of the stunts. So Ray Crash Corrigan, huge career being a stuntman, and a lot of that was actually involved ape costumes, and in fact his very first movies were in the Johnny Weissmuller movies Tarzan the Ape Man, and best Tarzan movie of them all, Tarzan and His Mate. And one other character in this film is a chap called Jack Norton, and in this film he actually gets to play a character called Mr. Austin, and he's a drunk at a hotel where the American scientist first arrives, and he is the first person to be murdered in the film. But the interesting thing about Jack Norton is, for the majority of his career as an actor, he did play drunks in movies, and in fact there's at least 80 credits on IMDb for him just playing drunk, and that's not even allowing for other performances where he's barfly or guy at gambling table or things like that. So yeah, interestingly, Jack Norton allegedly never actually drank himself in real life, but yeah, set out a whole career just playing drunks in movies. So yeah, for me, absolutely, this is a film that I loved discovering, and I definitely think more people should see it if they can get the chance to see it. I mean, it's really well shot for a B-movie, great camera angles, all in black and white, great sets, and just really exciting action as well. Like I say, it is definitely quite silly at times as well, and just rushes its ending, but nonetheless, hugely entertaining watch. Dr. Renault's Secret. Let me know any comments that you have. All the best. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.